Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Pursuing Connection podcast. My name is Jenny, and I invite you to join me on the journey of pursuing connection. Today, we are looking at how God can use anywhere to connect with us, even Walmart. Yesterday, I needed to go to the store and get a few things for dinner and cleaning. Now, I live in a very small town where we have exactly one grocery store within a 10-minute drive, and where Walmart is about 20 minutes or so away. So, my natural assumption was that I would just be going to the grocery store since it was close and I only needed a few things. However, Walmart popped into my mind. Well, I quickly brushed it off with thoughts of it's further away, parking lot's huge, and I really just don't need anything extra. I continued getting ready and completely forgot about the thought. I left the house about 30 minutes later, and as I approached the stop sign at the end of my road, Walmart again popped into my head out of nowhere. I sat there for a minute or so contemplating the decision of which store to go to, and then I started to question why I was even struggling with this seemingly meaningless decision. I have learned over the years that when an idea comes out of nowhere and it is out of my normal thought pattern, it's often the Lord's direction and that I should probably listen. Back in 2007, I had a similar experience where my sister and I were in my car heading to, you guessed it, Walmart to get some moving boxes. And as I approached a stoplight, I felt a strong urge to turn left. Now, the usual way to go was by going straight through the light to access the highway. And within a few microseconds, I reasoned away the urge by justifying that it was further out of the way and would take us a lot longer to get there. After a split second decision, I went straight through the stoplight, coming to a stop behind a line of three cars. I tilted my head to the left, trying to see why we were stopped, and found that the front car was actually waiting to turn left. About 2 seconds later, we were jolted so hard that it took a moment to actually understand what had happened. We had been rear ended by someone who had breezed through the stoplight, failed to notice the line of stopped cars in his immediate path, and did not even apply his brakes. As circumstance would have it, there was zero damage done to my car. But my sister and I, we were not as fortunate. I ended up with severe whiplash and chronic migraines that lasted for over 5 years. I've reflected on that time in my life a lot and continue to use it as a lesson learned to recognize the voice of the Lord and follow his leading without hesitation. Okay, back to my grocery store run. So I decided that even though it would take twice as long to get there and back, I knew the thought to change course did not come from me, and it was persistent enough that I should follow it. So I turned onto the highway and headed for Walmart. I arrived, found a shady parking spot because summer in the South is extremely brutal, and made my way inside. As I entered, I turned left to head toward the food and cleaning aisles, and as I was passing the women's clothing, I noticed something. So, about 3 years ago, I'd picked up a dress from there that I really enjoyed wearing and was actually wearing it during that shopping trip. I had been looking online for a couple more colors, but had been unable to actually find the dress anywhere. Lo and behold, there was the dress in about 8 different colors, and it was on sale for a whopping $8 a piece. As I picked out a couple of dresses, I chuckled at how God cares so much about each small thing in our lives, even what we like to wear, and how I almost missed out on this little blessing from Him by not listening to His still small voice. I have to admit that most of the time I think about listening to God's voice, it usually holds the idea of what danger am I putting myself in by not listening. However, during this trip, I was reminded While heeding God's voice can certainly help to keep us safe, it can also be a way for Him to bless us or bring something good into our lives, or even help us find something we've been looking for, like a couple of new dresses. This experience was a reminder that I want to continue to get better at hearing God's voice and following it with what I like to call blind obedience. Now, to me, this is my way of putting complete trust in His leading, no matter what logic or other natural thoughts might say. This idea always makes me think of Jesus' first miracle at the wedding in Cana, described in John 2. My favorite part of this story is in verse 5, when Mary tells the servants, "Whatever he says to you, do it." Now, Mary seemed to know that the way to see miracles happen was to listen and obey without question or objection. And while finding a couple of dresses may not be classified as a miracle, it was definitely a blessing in my little corner of the world. So, how do you recognize God's voice? Do you question or reason it away? Or do you listen and obey? What steps are you taking to get more acquainted with His voice so that you hear it more clearly and can obey more quickly? What experiences have you had with hearing God's voice and choosing to follow it or not? Feel free to leave a comment or send me an email. I would love to hear about your experience. Thank you for listening and for allowing me to be a part of your life today. You are a gift and capable of amazing things. I believe in you and look forward to chatting with you again soon. Also, I'm still enjoying the music from the last episode, so I've added it once again for another dance party opportunity. Until next time, stay connected.